Turkey Guy Sports.
NFL Thanksgiving preview. Are you ready for some football?
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your host, Brent Bilski, a.k.a. Double B, a.k.a. the 110 Soldier. Had to get out a special segment today because this Thanksgiving football action is just so jam-packed with three great games. I wanted to come out and talk about it. I want to give you Thanksgiving 101, what you need to know before you talk turkey with your family and friends.
Let's talk turkey.
I got predictions as well, and I love Thanksgiving football. It matters in so many ways, especially this year with the three big matchups we got, and it helps besides just avoiding all the family drama. Don't have to listen to your drunk uncle's political rants. You don't have to listen to mom cry about her dry turkey. This goes back all the way to 1934. Lions and Cowboys have been hosting this forever. Lions started this 1934 in a marketing move. Cowboys joined them in 1966. Next thing you know, it became an annual tradition. They've now added the primetime game, a third game because it's done so well all the way back in 2006. Produced so many iconic moments over the years. Football fans, I'm sure, remember the butt fumble in 2012. I'm sure Mark Sanchez hasn't forgotten about that. The Leon Lett slip and slide of 1993. Cowboys fans, I know y'all haven't forgot about that one. Or the Bounty Bowl 1989. Great games, great matchups, a ratings monster, and I predict that this year will actually be the highest rated we've ever seen. Just so you know, the Cowboys-Giants 2022 Thanksgiving matchup is still the most watched regular season game ever. 42.1 million viewers. This Thanksgiving games always consistently outdraw NBA Finals, MLB playoffs, the Oscars, political debates. You could put them all together. They don't match what all of us do. We all sit on our ass on Thanksgiving and we watch great football games. This year, I will predict, though, we'll break the record. Chiefs-Cowboys, and projections say 50-plus million viewers. Actually makes sense to me. The star power, the playoff stakes for both teams, seasons hanging in the balance. And so right now, I'll give you everything you need to know to talk football at the dinner table and why I've got the Chiefs, the Lions, and the Ravens cooking tomorrow.
Hey, let's talk turkey, Manatee.
Let's start off with the biggest matchup. It's the first one, and it's going to be the best one. Chiefs-Cowboys has everything. There's nothing missing. This is so awesome. The two most watched, love-or-hated franchises in maybe all of sports, both dealing with adversity, both trying to say they're a team of destiny. So many stars all over the board. Post Malone is going to be doing the halftime show, and I'm just saying he did do collabs with Taylor Swift. I'm just saying she could pop out. I'm not going to say she is. We don't know, but it's going to be a huge game. And the Chiefs, I do think, will prevail. And let me talk about Kansas City. And the win they just got over the Colts going into this was so huge, even though I don't think they're going to make the Super Bowl. I have very much tapered back on the Chiefs actually coming out of the AFC. This year, they feel much more like the 2022 Bucs to me than an 03 Patriots. We always love to compare Mahomes and Brady. This will be no different. If you think of the two seasons where Brady came off in slow starts, back in 03, he came out 2-2. They went on to win a Super Bowl. I don't feel that way about this year's Chiefs. They feel much more like the 22 Bucs when he was in Tampa and he'd won his Super Bowl and he probably stayed 1 year later than he should have and lost his hot wife and his kids over it. And all he ended up getting was a 3-5 record where he was able to eke his way into the wild card and lose that game. That is where I basically think Kansas City is. I think they're going to be able to eke their way into the playoffs. I think they're going to beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I don't think they're going to do much more than that. But that win versus the Colts is still, it's so interesting. They say with boxers, you still got your punch, you still got a shot. They will always have a shot because they are always able to pull things out when it seems like they have no chance of doing it. And that's why that win, as much as they're still in the wild card race at best, makes so much of an impact for me. That 23-20 overtime victory over Indy when they were down 11 in the fourth. Mahomes did his thing, 352 yards, basically carried the comeback. And it was so weird. It's their first one-score win of the season. They're only 1-5 this year in one-score games, which is so unusual for Kansas City. But with the season hanging in the balance, they prove they can still win ugly and still survive. And Patrick Mahomes, the closest thing I will say to comparing him to Tom Brady is I have that same feeling of when there is one player, one possession, when everything is up for grabs and he's able to come through. He's the only one I've seen since Tommy that's been able to pull it off. And it happened twice in that Indy game. If you remember, 3:18 left in the fourth quarter. It was 4th and 3 on the Indianapolis 43. That game looked like it might have been toast if he doesn't complete that pass. He doesn't just complete it to Rashee Rice. He able to get a 19-yard completion, lead to the field goal, which sent them to overtime. And then there was another big possession, 3rd and 7 on the Kansas City 24. Looked like the offense was going nowhere. Then all of a sudden he hits a pass to Worthy for 31 yards, makes it all the way out to the 45-yard line. Momentum becomes their way. Butker kicks the field goal, and they pull out the victory. That is the one thing that Mahomes still does that still reminds me so much of Tom Brady is that when everything is on the line, literally this last possession, everything is up for grabs. He's able to come through in clutch moment after clutch moment. So it's hard for me to doubt him, and I'm not going to doubt them against Dallas, even though I know their 6-5 record doesn't look that great, and their 1-4 road record, and they're going to be at AT&T Stadium, doesn't look great at all. And Mahomes has been sloppy. I'm not going to say Mahomes has been the Mahomes that we want to give him credit for. 95.9 rating this year, 7 interceptions. Fun fact, Mahomes having to do this hero ball. Did you know he's had 57 interceptions in the last 5 seasons? Patrick Mahomes has had 57 interceptions in the last 5 seasons. That puts him in the top 3 and ties with Trevor Lawrence and Tua Tagovailoa. That's crazy. That I didn't know that he ties now with Lawrence and Tua over the last 5 years. 57 interceptions. So yes, the offense is moving. Rice does look like he's a star wide receiver 1. He really does look great. And their defense is good enough. They're top 10 in both sides. They are 6th in the NFL in yards per game on offense, and they're 7th in yards allowed on defense. But they're inconsistent. It's weird this year. They're dropping balls. They're making mistakes. And I just don't know how much you can depend on them for a playoff run. But versus the Cowboys and that defense, and yes, I know with the trades and the way they've been able to protect the run the last couple of weeks that the Dallas Cowboys are very high on their defense, and I will give you credit for that, and I'll talk about it in a second. But your passing defense is still not what it needs to be. You are allowing 29.3 points per game allowed, 31st in scoring defense. I just don't think even stopping the run, where the Chiefs are only 14th in the NFL in rushing yards per game anyways. That's not where they hang their hat. They like to run the ball. They use it when they need to. But in the end, Mahomes is going to challenge this Dallas secondary, and it's going to come down to extended plays and broken plays and all that. All that favors Patrick. Clutch moments favor Patrick. And those season-saving throws he seems to have year after year after year, with both teams having their season hanging the balance in this game. I still got to give it to Pat, even though Dak has been great. I don't know if he can keep up with Patrick Mahomes. But I will say this about the Dallas Cowboys.
They suck. The Cowboys suck.
I will be nice about the Dallas Cowboys and put their season in context of the same bittersweetness that is always when you are a Cowboys fan the year that you go through. Because 2 good things and 2 reasons to be inspired, I would say. For one, it really feels like finally it's Dak Prescott's team. That's a good thing. Dak Prescott is clearly the most underrated, not just quarterback, but maybe leader, professional, role model. Dude, Dak Prescott does nothing wrong, and he has been playing great, and it seems like the team is finally just really, truly his, and that has just been indicative of not just Schottenheimer and some of the other new guys. I really think it's Dak that's led that big comeback versus the Eagles, their ability to believe in themselves, to have a positive attitude, their offense and flow, their energy on offense. They just seem looser. It's the best offense we've seen in years. All that is because of Dak Prescott, and I don't want to get too into this, but the idea of, what happened with Nealand and him passing away tragically, it seemed to impact them and maybe put them in that state of mind that is hard for professional athletes and just people in general to always keep perspective of, dude, there are bigger things in life. Let's just give it our best and go play. I'm not trying to be corny, but I am saying they do seem to want to be kind of playing the season out for Nealand and maybe have a big picture that is unique to them of, man, dude, it's just football. We're going to play inspired. We're going to play together. We're going to do it for Nealand. There seems to be a little of that. There does seem to be a little specialness in the air.
He reminded me of what we were fighting for.
But it's Dallas, man. Look, I come from Texas. I used to be the affiliate of the Cowboys, and I was neutral on y'all, and it fascinated me that every single year, no matter what, whether it looked like you were going to be good or bad, they do the same thing. They drag you out until the middle of the year or towards the end, and then they let you down.
They always let you down.
Dallas Cowboys never fail me for this. They will keep you in suspense to the edge of your seat till the very end of the season, and then somehow they will let you down. I don't think this Thanksgiving game is any different. Coming off your big win over the Eagles, the big comeback, Dak looks great, and Dak does look great. Don't get me wrong. 82% now and 9 touchdowns in play action. When the O-line blocks, he is ultra elite, and in the last 3 games, Dak Prescott has had 7 touchdowns and just played phenomenal ball. Not to mention their run game looks phenomenal, 115 yards per game. And the defense, let's talk about it. The defense, stopping the run is such a big deal, especially come November, December. Weather gets colder. Teams get tougher. You got to start grinding it out. Those trades for Kenny Clark and now Williams and Wilson, maybe you are better without Micah Parsons, at least stopping the run. The run defense has not just improved, it's improved dramatically. 2 games following those last 2 big trades for Williams and Wilson, and then, of course, you had Clark and some people coming back healthy. They have now allowed just 90 yards on 30 carries the last 2 games. That is a phenomenal run-stopping defense, and it is just such a great thing to have and makes everything a lot easier. If you can stop the run, you make everything else so much harder for that other team. And George Pickens on the offensive side has clearly been a steal. I don't know if he'll be able to keep it together for how many years and once you pay him, but man, right now, George Pickens is clearly the biggest steal in any NFL move this season. 1,000 receiving yards plus already and has scored 8 touchdowns through 11 games. George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb has just been a nightmare for defenses. But I look at this Chiefs game and the next game where you're away against the Lions. I think it's the same old joke. It's the same classic Cowboys pun joke, whatever you want to call it, where they'll say, I hope the Cowboys will be my pallbearer so they can let me down one more time.
That's supposed to be funny?
It's a running thing that they always do. The Cowboys can let me down one more time so they should be at my funeral. But the cliches don't come out of nowhere, man. I feel the exact same thing. You got the 5-5-1. Big victory against the Eagles. It looks like things might be turning around. We're doing it for our fallen teammate. We're doing it for Dak. We're doing it because everyone doubted us and yada, yada, yada. I think you're going to lose to the Chiefs. I think you're going to lose next week to the Lions. And once again, you'll be out of the playoff race. Talk about coulda, woulda, shoulda. Although your future does look very bright. Shout out to Jerry Jones, because now with those draft picks, along with some things you picked up in this season with the moves that you made and trades, you do look like you have a bright future. But I don't see a path where the Cowboys win these next 2 games. And so Cowboys, once again, will get your hopes up late, then break your heart. It's just what they do. Chiefs are going to win. Mahomes is too clutch. That Dallas defense can stop a run, but it's a little too unreliable for me. I think KC pulls away late, and they pull it off. And KC does make the wild card. I look at some of the other wild card teams, whether it's the Chargers, who have offensive line problems going on all year. I've seen it personally in SoFi. Herbert has a defensive lineman up his ass the second he turns around. Jacksonville, I mean, what do we say? Lawrence is done. I don't know what to tell you. Lawrence has clearly become he's just not it. I'll move on and talk about that another day. Pittsburgh is, of course, reeling because of the Aaron Rodgers injury and what's going to happen there. Plus, their defense is terrible. The Texans have a great defense. They have the opposite problem. Their offense, between Mills or Stroud, I don't trust their offense to pull it off and finish off the season strong. And even the Bills, they are so Allen-dependent. They only seem to win games if Allen can throw for 3 touchdowns. I don't know if you can rely on that all the time. So between Chargers, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, Houston, Bills, I say the Chiefs not only win today, they're going to win in the future and make a wild card and fail the way that Brady's Bucs did in 2022 and limp their way into the playoffs and probably lose their first wild card game.
Kansas City, Kansas City!
Moving on to the next matchup. And I really only want to talk about one side of this. I mean, I will talk, I guess, because the Ravens-Bengals here is a great rivalry game, of course. And Joe Burrow coming back is interesting. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase coming back from a spitting incident.
Spit on me! I did not spit on you! I did not!
Burrow from the toe at Baltimore makes for a unique situation and a hard-to-predict situation when you consider that the Bengals started off 2-0, but in the last 9 games without Joe Burrow, they're 1-8. They're 1-8 after a 2-0 start. We really don't know what Bengals is going to show up, but I will say the Baltimore that's going to show up is finally healthy. This is a team I believe in and has really started to put together at the right time. They're at home after starting 1-5, the worst opening in their franchise's history. They have already won 5 straight, moved to 6-5, and the Steelers are reeling in the AFC North. Look like they're going to win their division. I think it will continue. They overcame so many injuries early. They overcame so much doubt that they have had probably one of the biggest momentum swings of any team in professional sports that I've seen in a long time. To go from 1-5 to tied for first and win 5 straight is not a comeback, it's a resurrection. I believe the Ravens will get it done. And Lamar Jackson is not the MVP week after week after week. He is still dealing with that hamstring injury, but he is still Lamar Jackson. He is inconsistent, but he still has moments, not just the bad ones he had, like the Jets game where he was pretty, let's face it, 13-23, 153 yards, 0 touchdowns. And it looks about just 70% when he's running around, not nearly as mobile as he once was.
Are you injured or are you hurt? What's that mean?
And I know he has a history of not always being able to finish off in big moments. I think he's due. I think this Thanksgiving slot is a perfect time to prove it. He's at MVP seasons. It's now time for a clutch season run. He's already 5 wins into it, or at least the Ravens are 5 wins into it. I think he'll continue because Derrick Henry, the most... I don't get it every year, I guess because we're waiting. The running back cliff is supposed to fall off for Derrick Henry at his age. It hasn't. Derrick Henry in a bad year is still 4th in carries. He is still 6th in yards, and he is 5th in touchdowns with 9. He is still a top 5 back in this league and is only getting stronger. Since week 9, Derrick Henry, 297 rushing yards. That's now 2nd in the NFL. Gives him that nice combo of the strength of Henry up the middle, then Lamar and his ability to extend plays and run around on the outside. It just gives defenses nightmares. This will take pressure off of Lamar. The running game's identity is back. The defense has become not a liability anymore, which I think is fantastic. They are actually been what's really the glue holding them together.
We can't penetrate their defense.
The Baltimore defense, which started off admittedly shitty to start the season, has now held opponents under 20 points for 6 straight games. One more time, has held opponents under 20 for 6 straight games. And because the offense is also doing a good job, their turnover margin is insane in the last 5 games. 10-0, plus 10 turnover ratio. That's just fantastic. This is old school Ravens where they can run, hit you in the mouth, play defense, make an exciting play here or there. They went from the liability of the entire team, this defense, to their life support, and they've dragged this team back to relevance. And now that Lamar's getting healthy and Henry's back to form, I love it. I think the Ravens are going to get it done. As far as going forward, they are in a tough division, and their schedule is brutal. After the Bengals, they got the Steelers, they got the Chiefs. That's a massive one. At Houston, Cleveland now with Shador. We'll see how that continues to go, and at Steelers. But as far as the Thanksgiving game, I think they're going to win. I think Lamar's going to play best under his big lights. The defense is peaking. Henry gives them a margin for error. They're more physical. They're more disciplined. They're more balanced. I still think they could be a Super Bowl in the weak AFC. Ravens by 6-10. Too many ways to beat you. Too physical. Too much momentum. And even with Joe Burrow's return, I do not trust the Cincinnati Bengals defense. I think it'll be nice to see Joe Burrow back. Hopefully he does well. But if you give up 32.7 points per game, like the last-ranked defense of the Cincinnati Bengals does, I don't think you have any chance against the Ravens in Baltimore.
Go, Ravens, go! Go, Ravens, go! Go, Ravens, go!
Last game. And I want to talk about this one only because my NFC Championship, I will still hold on to this, is going to be the Detroit Lions and the Rams. I still got Lions, Rams in my NFC Championship. I know the Seahawks are still there. Philly just coming off their big loss. Chemistry issues. That is still my pick, and I am sticking with it. And I root for both of these teams because, God, you know what? I love a coach with balls.
You have big balls.
I love a coach with big old giant balls, and both McVay and Campbell epitomize that for me. 4th and 5, they do all sorts of crazy stuff. It's all the new analytics. It's having trust in your team. I love these guys. I love that they have giant huevos. And so let's talk about the Lions, who I think will upset the Packers. And Lions are 7-4 this year. And I know the Packers, a lot of people are going to say you're out of your mind. go with Green Bay. It's in Detroit, which is a big deal. And even though the Lions are just 7-4, dude, that schedule has been brutal. The NFC North is brutal. They did lose their offensive coordinator in the offseason. Enough people don't talk about when teams lose coordinators. This offense is still elite. I think they needed time to adjust, and it was just a lowly comeback win versus the Giants last week. It was still huge momentum, and for me, something of, I feel like the Lions as a franchise have just felt cursed. You think of last year after their great start, they got hurt and had to fizzle out at the end of the season. I think they're due for a run. To quote Major League, I got a hunch they're due.
I got a hunch he's due.
I am saying they're due. The Detroit Lions have everything you need but history. It's the only thing that's missing when you look at the logo. Everything else the Detroit Lions have. 378.5 yards per game is fourth in the NFL. Offensively, this team can still go, and they can do it passing, they can do it rushing, but man, the wide receivers, Amon-Ra, Williams, you got Laporta at tight end. Their offensive line, which is one of the biggest parts of a winning franchise, especially late in the season, is still one of the best units in the NFL, but they are built to beat you anyway. That's huge for me. To be able to adjust, we can run the ball, we can pass it, we can do whatever you want, and the Detroit Lions fit that bill. And while Jared Goff is not, of course, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, I think he's good enough. I still say Goff is good enough to win a Super Bowl. He's gotten close, and he's more to me in that Foles or Sims category of not game manager, a little higher than that. Maybe not Matthew Stafford, though, but it is an interesting comparison to maybe put Goff and Stafford in that same category. But he just does his job. He knows what to do. He hits his receivers. He limits turnovers. He finds matchups. He does have a 108.5 passer rating. And in the domes, Jared Goff is unbelievable. It was an interesting stat looking this up. And some guys just need, the cold weather sucks. I don't like being in the cold any more than anyone else.
Canaries don't like cold weather.
Jared Goff in a dome is a whole different animal. Jared Goff this year, in 10 games in a dome, has 21 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, a 69.7% completion rate, 2,490 yards. Dude, he is a different animal when you put him in an arena, and they will be in Detroit. Not to mention the running backs. Let's not forget, this is the two-headed monster, arguably the best running back duo in the league, Gibbs and Montgomery, average 140 yards per game. Third in the NFL. You got the explosiveness of Gibbs. You saw that in the Giants game in the overtime last week. You saw it with Montgomery, where he can just punish you. It takes the pressure off Goff. They got a lightning bolt. They got a sledgehammer. You got to pick your poison. Their defense is healthy, which I also like about Detroit. 312 yards allowed per game is just 10th, but they're solid. And you got leaders, man. Hutchinson, Jack Campbell is starting to come up. They're consistent, they're physical, they're reliable. They're not elite, but they're trustworthy. Detroit can stay in games even when the offense sputters, and they're so explosive. And looking at their remaining schedule going forward, I do think it's going to be tough for them after the Packers. They do have the Cowboys, which, who knows. But then Jaguars, 49ers, Vikings, Bears. It's a tough-ish slate, but I think the Lions will get it done. I think they will meet the Rams in the NFC Championship, and I do think that they'll beat the Packers, get revenge for earlier in the season. Home field advantage. Packers offense can't match Detroit's. Lions are healthier, deeper, and more explosive this year, and I think we'll start their late season run.
Lions overall.
Real quick on Green Bay, I will say this. The reason I don't give you more love is because I don't really love your quarterback, pun intended. If I look at the NFC North, which is one of the toughest divisions, I don't think that Love is any better than Goff, obviously, and I don't even know if he's better than Caleb Williams. It'll be an interesting end of the season here. Both of these guys came in with a lot of hype and a lot of question marks. Williams, at least, he's like a cleanup hitter. He's going to miss. He's not going to bat 300, but he hits home runs. It's such a good comparison of kind of what he is. I don't see that level of explosiveness with Love, and I do see a drop-off. And even though you're 7-3-1 and your defense is unbelievable, I'm not saying that. Your offense is just too inconsistent, and I think it all has to do with Jordan Love, who was one of the most interesting storylines coming into this season after you traded for Micah Parsons. Is he going to be able to push them into a contender? I don't see it. As good as the defense is, 6th in points allowed. They suffocated the Vikings just last week. Now, that was J.J. McCarthy, who doesn't even look like he should be a backup, but that's another conversation for another day. It's a young unit. They're maturing. Their identity is really forming. Defense-first football. They are really able to stop you on that side of the ball. But at some point, you got to score, and even though Jordan Love flashes top 10 talent, the last 3 games, 2 touchdowns, 58% completion rate over the last 3. Turnover issues, ball security. He's solid, but he doesn't seem to be that Goff, Stafford, even like a Hurts tier. They need the run game, and they've been injured there. Josh Jacobs, who might be able to play soon. And Wilson was able to step up as well last week. I understand that. But I just don't think their offense is enough. I guess that's my basis grip. I don't love your quarterback. I don't love your offense. It'll be interesting going forward. You also have a brutal schedule, just like some of these other teams here. The Lions, then the Bears, who have gotten better. At Broncos, at Bears again, versus Ravens, and then at Vikings will be maybe your easiest game. But other than that, it's not easy as well. I just don't think you can match them offensively. I don't think you can touch Jared Goff in a dome. As I pointed out, his stats are a totally different thing when he's in an arena. I don't think Love will keep up. I don't think the offense will keep up. I don't think the defense will be able to keep under 20 points. And so I got the Lions winning. So that is basically the 3 games there, my predictions. Now, hopefully you got enough to talk turkey with your family. Try to stay away from the family fights. Remember, you're only together for that day. You can go home and bitch to your significant other or maybe your friend about all the stupid stuff your family did to get on your nerves. We'll talk to you next time and see how it goes. But enjoy the turkey, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Tricky Guy Sports.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, unless you like being a girly man.